Max and the Secret of the Flying Kite. Max was a 6-year-old boy who loved flying kites. Every day after school, he would run to the big, open meadow behind his house to fly his bright red kite. It soared high above the trees, dancing in the wind, and Max loved watching it flutter against the blue sky. One windy afternoon, Max's kite flew higher than ever before. The wind was stronger that day, and as Max tugged on the string, something strange happened. The kite pulled harder and harder until it broke free from his hands. "Oh no!" Max shouted as he watched the red kite zoom away. Max ran after it as fast as his legs could carry him, but the kite was too quick. It flew over the meadow and disappeared into the forest beyond. "I have to find it," Max said to himself. So, without a second thought, he ran into the forest, determined to catch his kite. The mysterious forest. The forest was full of tall trees with leaves that rustled in the wind. Max had never been this deep into the woods before, and everything seemed different. Birds chirped high above him, and the sound of the wind through the trees was like a soft song. But Max was too focused on finding his kite to notice. After a while, Max came to a small clearing where the wind suddenly stopped. In the center of the clearing was his red kite, stuck in the branches of an enormous tree. But this wasn't just any tree, it was the tallest, oldest tree Max had ever seen, with branches that reached high into the sky. Max reached up on his tiptoes, trying to grab the kite, but it was too high. "Hello there," a soft voice said from behind him. Max spun around and gasped. Standing behind him was a tiny, sparkling fairy with wings that shimmered in the sunlight. She was no bigger than Max's hand and had a twinkling smile. "I see you've lost your kite," the fairy said with a kind smile. Max nodded. "Yes, it flew away and got stuck in that tree. Can you help me get it down?" The fairy fluttered her wings and looked up at the tree. "I can help you, but this is no ordinary tree. It's the tree of winds, and only those who are brave and kind can climb it to reach the top. Are you ready for an adventure?" Max's eyes lit up. He loved adventures. "Yes, I'm ready." The climb to the top. The fairy sprinkled a little golden dust on Max, and suddenly, he felt lighter, like he could almost float. With a leap, Max began to climb the great tree. The branches were thick and sturdy, and as he climbed higher, he noticed something amazing. There were tiny creatures living in the tree. First, Max met a family of squirrels who were busy collecting acorns. "Hello," one squirrel said, offering Max an acorn. "Thanks for visiting our tree. It's a long climb to the top, but you can do it." Max smiled and thanked the squirrels before continuing his climb. Next, he came across a wise old owl perched on a high branch. The owl blinked its big eyes and said, "You are brave to climb the tree of winds, young one. But remember, the higher you go, the stronger the wind becomes." Max nodded and kept climbing, feeling more determined than ever. The wind began to whistle through the branches, but Max held on tight. The wind spirits. As Max reached the top of the tree, the wind became stronger. Suddenly, a group of tiny, playful wind spirits appeared, swirling around him in the breeze. They were made of soft, glowing air, and they giggled as they danced in the wind. "Who are you?" Max asked, amazed. "We are the wind spirits," they said in unison. "We keep the winds blowing and make the kites fly high. But you're the first person to climb the tree of winds in a long, long time." Max grinned. "I came to get my kite. It's stuck up here." The wind spirits floated around the kite and giggled. "We know. But before we help you, you have to do something for us." Max tilted his head. "What do you need?" The spirits twirled in the air. "We need you to play a game. We love playing games with kind-hearted adventurers. If you can make us laugh, we'll help you get your kite back." Max thought for a moment, then had an idea. He picked up a leaf from the tree and made it into a funny hat. Then he started dancing around in a silly way, wiggling his arms and making funny faces. The wind spirits burst into laughter, twirling around in delight. "That was the funniest thing we've seen in ages," they said. "You win the game." The kite returns as promised. The wind spirits gently untangled Max's red kite from the branches and handed it back to him. "Here you go, Max. You've earned it. Max smiled, holding his kite tightly. Thank you. This was the best adventure ever. The fairy reappeared, fluttering beside him. You did wonderfully, Max. You were brave, kind, and full of fun. The Tree of Winds will always welcome you back if you ever want another adventure. Max thanked the fairy, the wind spirits, and all the creatures he met as he carefully climbed back down the tree, his kite safely in hand. When he reached the bottom, he ran back through the forest and out into the meadow, the wind now blowing gently once again. As Max flew his kite high in the sky, he thought about the magical adventure he had just been on. He knew that even though the wind might take his kite far away, he would always be ready for another adventure, because every adventure was full of surprises, friends, and fun.